Hello, my friends. Welcome to Short Stories. Today's short story is The One Bad Apple. Once upon a time, there lived an apple farmer. He was very good at growing apples, and it gave him great satisfaction to see all his hard work over the year come to fruition with a glorious harvest. On one particular morning, as the farmer is taking his dog for a walk across the fields to his prized apple tree, he notices something out of the place. There is one bad apple sitting high up on his prized, bountiful tree. If that bad apple were to spread to the rest of the apples and then the rest of the field, my whole crop will be spoiled. He says to himself, I must do something. But what? He decides to sleep on the problem and come up with a solution by morning. Morning arrives and a plan has been decided. He goes to the tractor shed to fetch a long pole. That's why I can poke it out the tree and stop the problem, he says to himself. Try as he might, the long pole just isn't quite long enough, and in an attempt to get to the rotten apple, a few good ones are knocked to the floor. This is no good, he says to himself. I need a better idea. He once again decides to sleep on the matter, and by morning an idea has indeed emerged. Back to the tractor shed he goes. This time for a catapult. That way I can shoot the rotten apple off its branch and my problem will be solved, he says to himself. Try as he might, our farmer's aim isn't so good and he can't hit the rotten apple to save his life. In all the attempts to hit the rotten apple off its branch, a few good apples are also knocked to the floor. This is no good, he thinks to himself. A better solution is needed, one that is foolproof. He decided to sleep once again on the matter. By morning, a solution had indeed arisen. Back to the tractor shed. This time, the plan is to shake the tree so the rotten apple may fall to the ground, solving the problem once and for all. Try as he might, no matter how hard the farmer shakes the tree, that rotten apple sitting at the top of the tree just won't budge. In all the attempts, a few good apples are shaken loose and fall to the ground. A few more days pass, and the farmer has become obsessed with that one rotten apple sitting at the top of the tree. Every night he goes to sleep devising a plan to rid himself of the rotten apple, and every day they fail. With a final foolproof plan of attack, the farmer arms himself with a chainsaw. If he can't poke it out, shoot it out, or shake it out of the tree, then he is going to cut off the branch. That way, he is sure he will rid himself of that one rotten apple. The farmer arrives at his prized apple tree and notices something for the first time. With all his concentration and days being taken up with that one bad apple, he had knocked, shaken, and poked all the other apples to the ground, where they now lay rotting. In an attempt to stop that one rotten apple spreading to the rest, he had forgotten to notice all the other wonderful apples that had ripened on his prized apple tree. This is the end of the story. Moral of the story is, sometimes we spend too much time and effort looking at the one rotten apple in our lives. What we forget to do is remember all the other wonderful apples we already have sitting in our apple tree. Take time today to focus not on the one bad apple, but the many ripe and wonderful apples you already have in your life. Thank you, everyone.